There's a reason why they say representation matters. And I figured this out during my own research of watching stand up comedians and getting to understand the different styles. Of course, my manager started me off with the greats last year in 2024. So I started off with Dave Chappelle, Eddie Murphy, Jamie Foxx. Um, Louis C.K., Joe Rogan, some amazing stand up comedians. But then when I started doing research myself on Hulu, right, I started looking at the comedy specials on there because in my mind, my goal is to get a Netflix or Hulu sponsored comedy special eventually. And then I stumbled on this black lady. I believe her name was Aisha. She comes from a Muslim family, lots of siblings, and I love how she used her life experience to tell jokes about the American experience of being different, which I can very much relate to as an American Nigerian that was born in America and grew up 13 years in Nigeria. So I can relate in that sense. And seeing this tall, elegant, classy Muslim black woman doing stand up comedy so tastefully inspired me that I could do this. Moreover, I believe what struck me the most was her method of storytelling and how the special became almost like an educational bit. It was like the people in the audience were definitely educated on Muslim values and what it's like, growing up in a family with multiple siblings. And that was the point that really grabbed me. As a journalist at heart, storytelling and having impactful messages is very important to me. And this is how I drew the correlation between journalism and stand up comedy. It's almost like an unfiltered way to report news or information. And since I'm so passionate about policies, politics, and current events, but I also have this humorous side, this was what really dragged me in. So I did my first stand up set in this journey actually April 29th of 2024. What's so funny is that when I got the inspiration to start up again and I just took myself out to a stand up to an open mic this year was also April 29th, 2025. So I think it's kismet. But let's see how rough around the edges I was last year and, see what jokes I told.
To make sure people are feeling good. That's the best way you can guarantee some laughs. So I want to invite you, if my jokes don't convince you enough to laugh with me, please feel free to laugh at me. I promise I won't know the difference. But it'll help my ego just to hear laughs. So yes, my name is Adara, and every time people see O's, like, in front of a name, I know Americans just get, oh, how do you pronounce? Is it O? Is it Ah? Is it... Am I saying that right? Everybody always usually says it right, mostly because I'm also probably not pronouncing it right. My background is that I was born here to African immigrant parents. I'm not going to tell you the African country, so don't come and ask me for some money some Nigerian prince promised you. So because of that, I've grown up looking at the world like kind of differently. I was born here in the US, I grew up in New York, and I can never really decide where I identify from. If people ask me, where are you from? Do I say New York? I lived in New York so long. Do I say Nigeria? Because I also lived there for 13 years, and now I've been here 3 years. I don't know. And so because of that, I always feel like I'm like out of it. So I observe both Nigerians and Americans like Nat Geo Wild Doc. Like I'm just on this side. I don't fit in. I'm just trying to make sure none of them eat me. So because of that, it informs the way I do a lot of things, like, for example, dating. I don't know if you know much about African culture, but you're not allowed to know sex exists or the opposite sex exists until you're 25, and then you're a failure for not being married. But my family, they're kind of progressive. My grandma waited till I was 30, my 30th birthday, and she called me from Nigeria and she said, Odera, it's time. You can start to look for a husband. I was like, oh, that's great. Does that mean like all my whole phase years get like erased now? Like I just dial it back to zero? Like I'm just now starting. Because I swear I told myself I was gonna marry every one of those guys. So thank you, Grandma. Thank you, Grandma. And in this conversation, she's telling me, she's like, you're in America now. Please don't wait to marry a Nigerian man. Marry anyone, even if he's from Thailand. And I was like, oh. I don't know what shocked me more, that my grandma knows what Thailand is, or that she's that progressive. I was like, oh, okay. But I quickly realized that it's kind of like my grandma and my mom's plan for me to live out their fantasy of marrying a white man. So, which is why they're really pushing me. My mom's thing is, listen, every failed boyfriend, she tells me, listen, give up. These African men are not gonna love this fairy tale romance thing that you're looking for. Find yourself an Italian man. I don't know why my mom has it in her mind that Italians were the one to go with. And her Italian crush was the actor Andy Garcia. I don't know, but that was who it was. My grandma's crush was Bob Barker from The Price is Right. When I was little, when she would come over to visit, we'd be watching Price is Right, and once he comes on, she'd say, "It's Bob Barker." I've never seen my grandma my grandma would blush. She was all red in the face. Bob Barker. And with her brandy. That's my man. I'm like, Grandma's in the other room. Grandma's like, calm down. Because of this, I was inspired, to get on the dating apps and explore and swipe on some white dudes. I'm like, okay, maybe I'll finally make them proud and find a white guy. And it didn't work out the way I thought it would. Because the conversations would be great. And then we'd switch to texting, and the next thing, boom, pink dick pic. And I'm like, why did you send this? What do you think? I'm like, do you really want to know? I've only been with Nigerian guys. I'm not sure if you want the truth. What do you want from me? And so, needless to say, I'm not dating a white guy. All of them blocked me after I responded to that. But I compromised and I found myself a biracial man. Ooh, just the way I like him. My grandma, my mom just ignore the other half of him and tell everybody in our family that I'm married to a white man. I'm not married, but that's the only way they can justify not disowning me for being unmarried at 30. Thank you.
I don't know. I actually like that. I don't think I've ever watched that because I was too embarrassed to see myself, but I actually kind of enjoyed that. There are a bunch of jokes in there that I can definitely develop more, and through this process, I think I will definitely look into it more. Till today, I still remember doing that set that day. It wasn't a full room, so don't judge me on the light laughter. It was a very big room and very few people, so the laughs were kind of spaced out. I do think people laughed. I do think people laughed, but till today, I still don't know why they laugh so hard at Bob Barker. And mind you, that's a true story. So that was very interesting. I feel like I counted about how many laughs? Like two, three laughs, um, four laughs. But I don't know. I enjoy it, and I think that's the beginning, part of it. That I'm confident enough, and I don't mind being laughed at, or I guess in this case, not being laughed at. But I'm not a pro, and I'm not claiming to be. This was me raw and rough and rugged a whole year ago. This is before I even got into my background acting. And this is after I was hosting trivia nights. around Los Angeles. So I had that confidence of being in front of the stage, which I've always had, with my bachelor's in journalism and all my experience with broadcast, NIFA, all of that. So none of that is particularly new. It's just like the joke part and hitting the punchlines. But I thought it was good. Let me know what you think. Let me know what your metrics are for rating a good comedian, and maybe I'll incorporate that in my entire 10,000 hours to becoming an expert at stand-up comedy. I probably prepared for this because it's a year. I'm just gonna summarize it and say I probably prepared for this for like an hour. That's like in writing the jokes and reading it out and trying it out on my manager, which I don't do so much, which I didn't want to do so much in the beginning because he's such a tough critic. So maybe an hour, and then the set itself was 5 minutes. So we have an hour and 5 minutes on my 10,000 hours counter. So we're pushing 9,995 minutes to go. 9,000 hours, 995 minutes to go. If you're enjoying this journey, my name is Odera. You're watching the Odera channel. Make sure you like and subscribe and share with a friend. Feel free to laugh at me. Feel free to laugh with me. Let's see how I do.